Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. We are still in spooky season.
Yes.
Today, we're gonna sidetrack the episode first because Casey just had a concert experience we need to talk about. But we're gonna be getting
Yes.
into some like creepy pasta stuff. So that's on the agenda for today. So Casey, you did 2 concerts back to back. How was it? How were they? How was all that driving?
It was a lot. I keep in mind I am 27. I'm pushing 30 here. Um so it was a lot for my old body, but it was so much fun. So I went to see Avenged Sevenfold, which if you've listened to previous episodes is one of my favorite bands, and they played in Phoenix, which is about like 3 hours from my house. And then my other favorite band, Bad Omens, was playing in Vegas the next day.
Oh my gosh.
And that is like a 4.5 hour drive, almost 5 hour drive from Phoenix to Vegas.
Oh my gosh.
And then I drove home from Vegas, which is another like hour and
It's
45 minutes.
so much driving.
It was so much driving and so much standing and so much walking and yelling, but it was a blast. I also went to a concert like the week before,
Yeah.
like last week. So like I've just had a lot of concerting
Yeah.
in the
They're
last. I saw
always
Motionless in White.
they're always back to back. It's like you can't like a couple summers ago, I felt like I was going to a concert every weekend because they are all like
Yeah.
up summer concerts and I'm like, could we have a
And they all
break?
tour at the same time. Yeah. And it's like all of the bands that I like are like going on tour. So of course I'm gonna
Exactly.
go see them. But it was so much fun. I was pretty close for the Bad Omens concert. The Avenged Sevenfold concert, listen, I might as well have been in the parking lot because I got there so late. I almost missed the opener I wanted to see.
Oh.
Um yeah, I it was an experience for sure, but yeah, I might as well have been in the parking lot with how far back I was. I got like lawn tickets cuz like they were still pretty expensive when I bought them,
Yeah.
but I was at the very back of the lawn. So, but it was still fun. I mean, I still had a great time,
Yeah.
even though they looked really tiny.
Yeah. But they were there live. You guys like were in the same breathing the same
Yeah, we
air
were
in
in
the
the
same
same
vicinity.
exactly. Yeah. It was like you were there, I was there, we were there.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And you still get to tell people I was there. Like it doesn't matter where you sit, you are all there.
Yeah. And you know what? Like, and when I say like expensive, like my tickets were like $100. I know people pay a bunch of money for like
Yeah.
what, like Taylor Swift
Oh my
to get
gosh.
crappy seats, like
Yeah.
way more than I paid. So like I'm fine with it.
Yeah, well, even like I was looking at because one of my favorite bands, Fall Out Boy, is going on tour. And they're
Mhm.
actually gonna be in the LA area like I think it's the month before my birthday. But for one, their concert's on a Monday, and Monday is the one day at
Uh
work that I just shouldn't take off. It's our busiest day.
mhm.
But I was looking at the nosebleed seats because that's where I always start. I don't give my hope ups for anything
Right.
else.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even then, those are like 80 something dollars for the nosebleeds.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. I'm like, well, maybe I'll go like the right below the nosebleeds, you know? Like it's still far, but it's closer, the view's a bit better. And they like immediately double in price. And I was like,
My
oh,
god.
oh.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it was just, I mean, I guess I could go by myself, but most of the time I'll end up taking my mom with me or a friend who wants to
Mhm.
go. So I'm like, that's a lot of money, and I just spent a lot of money on horror night tickets and a lot of money on supernatural conventions because now I'm going to 2 instead of 1. So it might be one of those concerts that I'll see if anybody like all of a sudden can't make it the day of or the day before and are trying to sell their tickets and just get rid of them. And then I'll
Yeah.
just go,
Well, and you could always, especially like if they're not sold out, like you could always look because that's what I did. I see the thing is like I bought my tickets so long ago
yeah.
And then the other day, because I know, like, especially if like a show isn't sold out,
Mhm.
they'll have like upgraded like seats for super
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah.
And I looked on like I think StubHub, and like the lawn seats for like Avenged were like $30, and I was like, I could have just waited.
Yeah.
It's fine. I just could not imagine spending like, so like, unless you're going to like a festival. So there's a festival coming up that I want to go to. It's called Sick
Ooh.
New World. And the tickets for that are like $400, but, like, that's an entire festival,
But
like, I
it's a
just can't
weekend, right?
justify spending. No, well, that one's only one day, which I think is kinda
Oh.
weird.
How many bands are
But
playing, though?
there's a bunch of bands
Yeah.
playing. Um, so, like, that I can, like, see, but, like, for one band spending, like, over $100, I just don't think I could, like, imagine
Yeah, I
doing.
think my cap for most bands is, like,
Maybe, like, 200.
200 because you by the time you get all the fees and stuff like that, it's really
Yeah.
annoying, but, like, ugh, like, over $200, I'm like, "I don't even wanna pay that for a plane ticket to go somewhere."
Yeah, exactly, and I'm like, I don't like, some people spend, like, a but, like, oh my
They
god, the
spent
amount of money people
thousands.
spend,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm
and then you
like,
still have to pay for
that
parking and
parking, you
snacks.
wanna get merchandise, yeah, you wanna
Oh
get,
my
like, your
god, the
merch, your
merch.
snacks,
Merch is so
and
freaking
everything is
expensive.
yeah, everything's expensive,
Yeah.
like, it's crazy, and yeah, and I ended up not like, I parked, like, in a park and ride near, like, the venue
Mhm.
for Avenged, because I was like, "Listen, I'm not trying to deal with venue parking,
Oh,
and I'm
no.
not paying for parking,
Mm.
because that's expensive."
Yeah.
Like, I just had to pay for a hotel that I didn't really wanna pay for either,
Yeah.
but I gotta sleep somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
we
yeah, concerts are very expensive, so,
Mhm.
the whole thing is, like, super expensive, so, like, I cannot justify spending more than $200, so, like, I was satisfied with my lawn seats.
Yeah, yeah, I remember when I went to see Big Time Rush when they first started not the tour that they are currently on, but their first tour back, and I'm a Big Time Rush fan, and then my 2 friends in Oklahoma are also really Big Time Rush fans, and we, like, constantly bond over that fact, so I was like, "I'll get them a t-shirt," because both their birthdays had just passed, and I'm like, I'll get them a t-shirt, and I'll say I was just waiting to give them a t-shirt, and each t-shirt was like $50, and I'm like, oh, that
Yeah,
hurts so
it's
much.
insane.
And then I was telling my friend Tammy about it, and she jokingly said, well, it's not like they're $50 t-shirts, and I'm like, but they were $50
Yeah,
t-shirts.
they were.
So expensive. Is it one of my favorite t-shirts that I own? Yes. Am I happy that I gave them the t-shirts? Yes. But oh, it hurts the wallet so much.
Yes, but yeah, it was a good time. I listen, this is I'm going to manifest this out to anybody listening, our 11 listeners. I'm
Woo!
just kidding.
Our one
Uh
listener, Robin.
our one listener, yeah. And Jamie, shout out Jamie. The other
Woo!
Jamie, not
Yeah,
this
not
Jamie.
this Jamie. There's two Jamies in
Yeah.
Casey's life, and yes, she does text the wrong one
Yes,
constantly.
I forget. Listen, even though one like my other friend Jamie, her last name is in her contacts and yours isn't, and you have an iPhone and she doesn't. That's, like, the biggest thing is, like, when I open her messages, it's freaking green, and I still text the wrong one all the time. I don't know.
My favorite instance of this is when out of nowhere I just get an outside bitch text, and I was like, "What?"
Like, excuse
And I was at home, so I looked immediately, just like looked out my window and was
like,
like, "What?" And then, like a couple minutes later, Casey's like, "Oh, wrong Jamie, sorry."
because I was like, "Why isn't she replying or, like, coming to the door?" And I looked and I was like, "Oh, because I sent it to the wrong one. She's probably so confused. Like, what? What do you mean?" Keep in mind, I also live in a different state, so, like, it would be just really weird if I was just, like, randomly outside bitch. What? Yeah.
Oh.
I just it's Yeah, I just don't pay attention.
No. But
Clearly.
anyways, back to your well wishes for the podcast.
Yes, if you have been wanting to go to a concert, do it. This is your sign to do it. Even if you go by yourself, you should just do it. I bought tickets to see Motionless in White like last minute, and I went by myself and I had a blast. It was so fun. I don't regret going. So you should do it. Also, I don't remember what else I was going to say.
I don't know, but
Anyways,
100%, I'm going to piggyback on that though. 100%. If there's a concert that you've been wanting to see and you can't find anybody to go with you and there's some really good cheap tickets available, go. Just go.
yeah.
Don't wait for anybody else. Just go. Trust me, it's worth it. I did that with One Republic,
Yes.
and they literally opened with my favorite song in the universe. So if I had said, you know what? No, it's fine. I'm not going to go, I would have missed that. And I would have missed that whole
Mhm.
experience. So go. Just
Mhm.
do it.
Yes, this is your sign. Go do it. Yeah. So that's the concerts. What was this podcast about?
We're going to talk about creepypasta
Spooky?
stuff. So now we're going to start spooky season.
Oh,
So it's a spooky
yes.
portion of
You
the
said a little
podcast.
yes.
So we had to talk about concert experiences.
Yes.
Before we talked, we were chatting before we started recording the podcast, and I asked her how it was because I wanted to know, and then I was like, wait, we got to use it for the podcast.
We have to record this.
Okay, so creepypasta is a
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
I was
Creepy.
trying to think because creepypasta was a very like big thing for me in like junior high school era.
Mhm.
Because it was just how things got around. Somebody had internet access and then for whatever reason looked up these things and did all of these things. And I was trying to think like what creepy pastas that I know. So I went to the most trusted source I could find, which is Wikipedia.
Reddit. Oh.
No, Wikipedia, the original trusted source.
Yeah, I guess Reddit would be the second most trusted source.
Yeah. Mainly because Wikipedia was the first thing that popped up and I went, great. And I was
Perfect.
I was scrolling through this says list of creepy pastas. I think I also had the like most famous ones, but I knew Slender Man started out
Mhm.
as a creepy
Yes.
pasta. Super famous one. And is a lot. I've realized looking through this list, a lot of them have become like little indie video games, which is cool.
Yeah, I know a lot of people will turn like creepypastas into video games. Like I think Slender Man's like a video game too.
Yes, it is. And so is there's one called The Back Rooms. And I was looking
Ooh,
at
yeah.
this on Wikipedia and it has a picture of it says a typical depiction of the back rooms digital render. And I'm like, wow, why does this room look particularly familiar? And that's because Jacksepticeye just played through The Backrooms, the video game,
The
on his
Backrooms.
channel. And I was like,
I think The
oh,
Backrooms is one of my favorite, like my most favorite creepypastas because genuinely, like sometimes I'll like read stuff about like the Backrooms
yeah.
and it like makes my brain explode. And like I just can't I don't know, it's like when I think about the universe, like my brain just like explodes. But The Backrooms is like um one of
Creepy.
my favorite creepypastas because it's crazy. If you read about it, it's crazy.
And we will get to that. But I wanted to bring up too that I had heard about, but I didn't realize it was an official creepy pasta. And the one which I'm sorry to all of my 90s and early 2000s babies, I'm gonna ruin your childhood because somebody else ruined my childhood with this, and it's the Rugrats theory. Do
Oh,
you
I've heard of
remember?
that. Yes.
And it was
That I've
basically,
heard.
yeah.
Mhm.
No, go ahead. What have you heard?
I've heard like well, I've heard a couple different ones.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've heard like a couple different stories about like different cartoons, but
Yes.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's supposed to be where it's supposed to like the Rugrats is supposed to be all in Angelica's head. She's like
Mhm.
some, I don't know, she's like in a coma or something like that. And so all of like the babies are in her, like in her head, they don't exist. And there's like behind each child and adult, I think like people have died and people have like
Mhm.
one of them has depression, and I can hear our critic in the background coming to say her
Yeah, I told you
piece.
she was eyeballing me earlier. She was eyeballing me sitting at my desk waiting, just waiting to for us to hit record.
But yeah, it really, I remember when this, I don't even remember who told me any of this information about the Rugrats theory, but it was definitely before I was frequently on the internet, and I remember just people telling me all this information, and I was like, "You've ruined everything." Um,
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that.
yeah. So up here, I have the creepypasta wiki pulled up, and it
Ooh.
says the Rugrats were really a figment of Angelica's demonic and unimaginable imagination. Chucky died in
Oh.
1986 along with his mom. That's why Chaz is nervous wreck all the time. Tommy was born in 1988, but he was a stillborn. That's why Stu is constantly in the basement making toys for the son who never had a chance to live.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the DeVilles, which are Phil and Lil, had an abortion in 1990, and Angelica couldn't figure out whether it'd be a boy or a girl, thus the twins. And like just I remember just that information. I don't know where it came from. I don't know who said it, and I'm like, thank you for
Yep. Yeah, thanks
ruining
for that.
ruining the one of my favorite cartoons in the universe with that. Um and then I think, where'd it go? Yeah, apparently, and then it says because it started talking about because Rugrats had the all grown up when they were teenagers, and
Mhm.
it's still about Angelica because it's still on her head. She at the ripe age of 13 was addicted to various narcotics, and she had schizophrenia and all of these, and then the reason All Grown Ups was canceled was because she overdosed and died. And I'm like, wow.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I know, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
What an ending to
I
that.
know, and I'm just like, wow. Like, I mean, it's all kinds of jacked up in here, but when I was looking
But,
through
like, it's crazy because, like, if you, like, go and watch the Rugrats, like,
it makes
it would
sense.
make sense, yeah.
Yes.
Like, somebody really was like, "This actually does make sense."
Yeah, and it's just like this weird, twisted, convoluted story, and you're like, oh my god. And then of course, you find out eventually that none of it's true. And you're like,
Yeah.
but why does it fit so good?
Yeah, but it feels true, so I don't
Yeah.
know how I feel about that.
Yeah, so that one was crazy. I think there was another, I don't have that one pulled up, but I thought there was like a Squidward related one for SpongeBob. Um,
I'm sure.
I thought it was about him unaliving himself. I'm trying to think what it
Oh, no.
Oh yeah, it was supposed to be, so I have it pulled up now. It was supposed to be like this dude was working as an intern for the Nickelodeon studios, and they like preview the episodes before they, put it out and whatever, and sometimes they do like joke episodes, so people thought it was a joke, but apparently it was just like Squidward unaliving himself multiple times, and it scared the cast and crew that was viewing the episode, and I'm like, that's so weird. It's so weird.
Oh my god.
Oh, and it just stuff like that creeps me out. Creepy. I mean, I guess that's why it's called creepy pasta, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, something like that.
And then another one which I've seen played as a video game and I didn't realize it was a creepy pasta was Sonic.exe. And
I don't think I've heard that one.
I remember when, because Dan and Phil on Dan and Phil Games played through it, and I was just like, what the heck is this? It's basically when you play through the actual game, like somebody actually recreated it as a game. And it plays just like an actual Sonic game. And I can't remember. I think everybody's supposed to be like dead, or they die as you progress. So you're always playing somebody different, but then they're dead. And I was just like, wow. It's so weird.
Also, can we just take a minute to note that my cat came over to me, screamed at me, and then just passed out.
She's
She's
like,
just
I've
knocked
said
out
my
right now.
piece.
She's like, "Good night. That was exhausting." It's hard being famous.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard carrying the whole podcast on her back.
I know.
What is she going to do when you come out here and we film an episode here without her?
No, she's gonna those ratings are gonna go way down. People just come for the cat.
For the overview for Sonic.exe, it says skirting similar territory to the infamous Ben Drowned creepypasta, which I've never heard of. Sonic.exe is a creepypasta story based around a haunted computer game. Switching focus from Nintendo to Sega, the story concerns a version of the classic game Sonic the Hedgehog that the narrator picks up as a .exe file for the PC. Soon after beginning the game, however, the player begins to experience strange phenomena and realizes that this game is very different from anything he has played before. And I remember when Dan and Phil played through this, like, they played through in one level, you start as Sonic and you play through that level, but then at the end of it, I believe you die. Sonic dies. And then it does the whole, like, flashing scary images of creepy Sonic on the screen and whatever. And then you start the new level and now you're Tails. And then you play through as Tails, and then he dies, and then, scary images and stuff like that. It was just really random and weird. And I honestly thought it was just something floating around the internet. I didn't realize it started as a creepypasta.
I feel like is creepypasta just the origin of everything at this point, honestly?
Yeah.
Anything,
Everything
like,
comes from
scary?
creepypasta.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the classic Slender Man.
Yes, which I feel like if you don't know Slender Man, get out of the rock you've been living under for the last, I don't know, decades.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I believe Slender Man was made into a movie, wasn't it?
I
And I thought
think so.
somebody had died concerning it or something. I don't remember.
I know that there was like a
There was like a
I don't know.
dead.
I don't
Oh,
know what words I can say on the podcast, but there was like a murder
uh-huh.
that had something to do with Slender Man. Like these girls thought Slender Man. I don't know. Don't
Yeah.
listen to me. I don't. I listen
Here
to a lot of true crime, but I don't. My brain doesn't retain information very
it
well.
says on May 31st, 2014 in Waukesha, Wisconsin. It's Waukesha. I don't know how to say it. Two 12-year-old girls lured their friend into the forest and stabbed her
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to appease Slender Man.
Slenderman. Yes.
Like,
So
that's
yes, don't let your children that are young unsupervised on the internet, please.
that, or at least teach them what's fake and what's real. Like, I don't know why
Yeah.
anybody. I mean, I guess it's probably because the same people think Bigfoot is real. Slender Man must be real, right? But Bigfoot lives in a forest, minding his business. Slender Man, on the other hand, ain't minding his business. He minding other people's business. So no.
Yeah.
But yes, so Slender Man was the OG creepypasta, and the game is terrifying. I've actually never played the
Mhm.
game, but I have watched a lot of people play the game, and it's scary just from watching it. So,
Yes.
let's see. This has the whole story on here. Oh my gosh. Creepypasta has so many ads on their website. The freaking thing keeps
Oh, yeah.
changing, and I'm like, stop. So basically, it says that the guy who created Slender Man, his name is Eric Knudsen. I'm going to assume is how you say his last name. We're just going to call him Eric. He basically, oh my gosh, ads, stop. He basically entered a digital photography competition of like, photoshopping weird things, and he basically just photoshopped Slenderman.
And that's how it
And
became
then it
crazy.
just, yeah.
It just escalated from there.
Yeah. And I guess with the
That's the power of
image,
the internet.
yeah, with the image, he provided small snippets of out of context text, which was supposed to be, I guess, like witness accounts and stuff like that. And that's the origin of Slenderman. A very
Wow.
creepily photoshopped dude with some creepy fan fiction written with it. And the internet took off.
And that is now forever ingrained in is that ingrained?
Yeah.
Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Okay, ingrained in people's brains forever.
Yep.
And ever.
Mhm.
Slenderman will forever be a part of the internet culture.
Yep. Oh my gosh. Sorry, they have the whole.
The whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah. Oh, it's so
Is
funny.
that what them kids say?
I don't know about them kids, but that's definitely what I say. Because like they have, I don't know. It just says Slenderman Creepypasta story. I don't know if it's the original story or not. And then it's accompanied by some photographs. The first one is like a group of teens that look like they were probably hit with a tsunami, because they all look like they're wet and they all look devastated, although the child in the front looks like he's super angry about whoever's taking the picture. But Slendy's just in the background. He looks like he's having a great time.
Just chilling.
Yeah, he's just like,
He's like,
hello.
photobomb.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. And then it's funny because the second one is a picture of this little girl climbing up one of those metal slides that'll burn the back of your legs off during the summer. And I'm like, that doesn't look like a Slenderman, but you look slightly to the left and he's there in the shadow with all the other children in the shadow. And I'm like, that's not creepy or anything to have this very tall man with all these tiny little children. And then
like just hanging out.
Yeah, the last one is the very classic one of, I think this is part of the movie or something. It's just Slendy holding the hands of a little girl, and it's just the two of them in a creepy forest.
Creepy.
Yeah. My favorite thing with Slenderman though that has come out of it is because the internet takes things very far until they're just silly. And there is a SpongeBob version of Slenderman where you play as SpongeBob and Slender is Patrick.
Oh my god.
It's hilarious because when you're like traveling around, you just hear wee woo, wee woo, and you're like, ah! And then he gets closer, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo.
Oh my god, now I want to play that game.
And it's just like a T-posing Patrick Star coming for you. You're like, ah, it's terrifying. And then
I love like those like indie games like that because they're so bad.
They're so bad. They're so good. And then another one is they have the Shrek Slenderman version, and again, Shrek is Slenderman, so you just got a T-posing Shrek coming after you. I don't even remember who
honestly
you're
that's
playing
terrifying.
as, but yeah, but it's so funny because like as he gets closer, it's a slowed down version of All Star. So it's like really slow, and as he gets closer, it gets louder. It doesn't get faster, but it gets louder. So, and then when you die, I don't know who the voice actor is, but it was just like a Scottish man basically saying all of Shrek's lines, but not even. He just tells you now you're a rock star in a Scottish accent as he kills you. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Terrifying. That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. And then when I thought you couldn't like do more Slender, there's a Christmas Slendy where Santa festive Santa is Slenderman.
Oh my god, we should play that for our Christmas
for
time
Christmas
videos.
time. And it's just, again, I don't know why everybody's like T-posing. It must be just like the default like pose for things like
Yeah.
this. But
Which is
yeah.
honestly, like, T-posing is scary. Like, if somebody was
Yes.
T-posing at me, like, coming towards me, just T-posing, like, screaming, I would be terrified. I would call the police, first of all, 'cause, like, get away from me. Like, the SWAT team, please. Like, please send this guy to some psychiatric help.
Yes. But yeah, so it's just Santa like T-posing at you, like coming to get you. And like, yeah, terrifying.
How
Terrifying, but
festive.
also the best. I still think the SpongeBob one is my favorite. Patrick's just wee wooing at you, and you're like, oh my god, this is
It's
terrifying.
terrifying.
So bad. Oh, we were talking about the back rooms. I wanted to look that up real
Yes.
quick.
The back rooms. I always see things that say, like, that Spirit Halloween stores have back rooms
Yeah.
because, like, they always put Spirit Halloweens in, like, really big, like, places that, like, used to be, like, in malls and shit,
Yeah.
and, so people say, like, behind the Spirit Halloween store is, like, the back rooms.
Oh, that would make a lot of
That's what I've
sense.
heard.
The original was called The Horrors of the Back Rooms. Oh, I clicked on an ad. I didn't mean to do that. Um, oh, okay. So it seems like the first story is supposed to be off the back of this kid named Alex's house. It
Huh.
says, I'm 15 years old and I've been trying to convince my parents there's something seriously wrong with our house. Interesting. Um,
Spooky.
oh, it's supposed to be in the basement. That's why you don't go in the basement. Don't go in basements.
Yeah. Don't have a house with a basement. What are you trying to do, die? I've seen enough scary movies. Don't go into basements or caves. Like, nothing good ever happens to them.
Oh, and then apparently, he tried telling his parents, and they didn't believe him. Surprise, surprise, because parents never believe anybody. And then it says his parents got him a camcorder for his birthday, and we all know that camcorders and scary situations don't. No,
Oh, they go hand in
no,
hand.
don't do that. That guarantees you
Don't do
a
that.
scary movie.
Yeah. Again, have we not seen enough scary movies in our lifetime to know not to do that?
Oh my gosh, there's so much detail in this story. I like our basement itself wasn't something to write home about. I would hope not. It's a basement.
Yeah, right? Like, what's so special about your basement?
Call me crazy because in a minute I'm sure you're going to be asking what could be so wrong with a simple wall. Oh, whoever this child is, genius. Okay, so apparently there's a wall in his basement that is darker than the rest of the walls, and I guess it flickers like a light bulb.
Ooh, creepy.
Yeah.
And his parents don't believe
No.
him? Why can't they just go down there and look
I
at
don't
it?
know.
They're like, "No, we're not going down in that basement, you weirdo. Who goes in the basement? It's creepy down there."
Yeah, I had come down to look at it before, and I thought the out of the ordinary phenomena would end there until I got the balls to touch it.
Oh god.
Oh,
But then he touched it and then he sunk into the
he
back
didn't actually
rooms.
even touch it. He shoved a broomstick through it, and instead of like the broom hitting the wall and breaking something, it just went through the wall.
Into the back rooms. Dun dun
Yeah, my
dun.
broomstick went through a solid concrete wall. I even walked forward with it in my hands at the time, and it continued going deeper into the wall, feeling no obstacles or objects stopping it.
Honestly, the back rooms I feel like is one of I mean, I I like listen to and watch a lot of like ghost stories and like cryptids and stuff like that and like believe what you want. Listen, I'm not saying the back rooms are real, but I could see them
I
being
feel
real,
like
maybe.
out of
I
a
don't
lot
know.
of creepy pastas, that would be the most likely. I feel like that's a very aliens kind of thing to do as well, you know?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he walks through it and he sees the back rooms.
There's, like, one, like, distinct picture. I feel like everybody we should when we post this episode, we should post pictures
Yeah.
of, like,
It's like
what we're
the like
talking
yellow
about on
walled like yeah, I know which one you're talking about. At least I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it's, like, the yellow walls, and it kinda looks like, it kinda looks like maybe, like, an
Like a
I don't
weird
even
like
know what it
apartment building or like office or
yeah,
something.
apartment yeah, like, office, like, kinda like a hybrid of the 2, but, like, I feel like when you think of the back rooms, like, you think of this, and this is, like, what people say, like, is behind, like, the spirit stores, like, because it obviously, like, spirit stores don't take up the whole entire
Yeah.
thing.
I think this is what customers think are in the back of my store when they go, "Can you look in the back room?" I don't have no back room like this. Mine is literally like a little
They're
box.
like,
Like, "Can you
yeah,
look in the back?" Like, "Ma'am, there is no back room back there. I cannot go look in the back." I literally typed in the back rooms creepypasta to make sure that I was looking at the correct image, and I am. It's that weird, like, fluorescent lighting,
like, it's
tiled
yeah.
ceiling, weird, like, hotel-esque
I feel
wallpaper.
like grandma.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like been there for 3,000 years, but I scrolled down a little too far and somebody had put the little Minecraft character photoshopped in the middle of the room and I'm just like, "What?" He just looks so cute and very confused as to why he's there.
He's like,
He's like, "This isn't
why am I
Minecraft."
here?
Okay, what else? Creepy pastas, creepy things. What's your favorite creepy pasta?
Creepy.
Is it the back rooms?
Trying to think. Let's see. Yeah, probably. Let me look. Let's see. Let's see some of the famous ones. You know what I love? I don't. It's not like a creepy pasta. But I just saw something that reminded me of it. The like because you know how like we just had our Disneyland episode. I don't know how long we're gonna make this episode,
It's
but
literally right after.
like all of the like all of the like creepy stuff,
About
like the
Disney?
ghosts and like the paranormal. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that stuff.
And, like, people, like, dying on rides or dying inside of things.
Yeah. Well, I read this thing. I listened to this. I think it was a podcast I listened to that said that they're they don't like if somebody dies at Disney. Like I don't know if this is
Oh, they
true.
you can't die on
Um,
Disney soil. They will take you
you can't die on like Disney property.
yeah,
Yeah, they like will take you
and
off
then
and like
pronounce you dead
pronounce you dead
there.
off of Disney
Yeah, yeah,
property.
I've heard that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, "What the heck?" Like, I saw, like I listened to one where this guy had, like, a heart attack, and they, like, kept doing CPR until they were, like, off
The
of
property.
like and he was, like, dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, until they were, like, off the property, and then they, like, pronounced him dead, and I'm like, "What the
Yeah, they
heck?"
will not pronounce you dead on Disneyland property. You will die right
Yeah.
outside Disneyland.
You are not allowed to die at Disneyland, that is an absolute no-no.
I feel like
But I've also seen one that was, like, that there was well, now it's Guardians of the Galaxy, but when it used to be Tower of
yeah.
Terror, that there was a ghost that sits on the top of Tower of Terror, like, on the outside. I
Oh.
saw a thing, like, multiple people said that, yeah, mhm. I don't know how true it is, but
Oh my gosh, there was one and it was about I've heard this there's somebody dying not on property. I thought there was somebody like died on the Matterhorn or something, or I
didn't somebody die on, like, the Big Thunder?
or maybe that's what it was. Apparently, somebody there is an infamous death of somebody dying on the Matterhorn. Apparently, it
Like,
was
I don't
in
understand that.
1988.
Oh, maybe that was, like, not a rule back then,
Yeah,
I
it
don't know.
says, yeah,
1988,
so
damn.
this is from the Los Angeles Times. It says Disneyland ride victims family settle. Woman died in Matterhorn accident. Trial was ready to begin. And it says the family of the woman who died when she fell from her seat on Disneyland's Matterhorn ride and was struck by an oncoming car agreed to a settlement.
Fell out of her seat?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what kind of safety measures the Matterhorn had back in the day because I wasn't alive back then.
So
So
It says, according to the court papers, the family had planned to introduce photographs of the victim and the bloody accident site in the
oh
trial
my
and had
god.
sought permission from the judge to inspect the Matterhorn cars for safety defects. In legal filings, the Youngs, which is the family of the girl that died, had argued that Disneyland was negligent in the 48-year-old woman's death because its employees had failed to ensure that her seatbelt was properly fastened. Regina Young's seatbelt was found to be unfastened after the accident. And then it says that
Dang.
after that, the park had changed the type of seatbelts employed on the ride. He said the change had nothing to do with the case, but was prompted because the previous supplier of seatbelts had gone out of business.
Interesting. It is. That would be. Imagine being at Disneyland that day,
That would be horrible.
or like being on the ride, or like even like
Just being
imagine
at the
because like
park.
I'm sure they didn't. Yeah, like I'm sure that the employees didn't know until like the freaking like car went back up to like let everybody out. Imagine like seeing all the people like wait. Imagine waiting in line and just seeing like a bloody freaking car coming back.
I wonder,
Oh my god,
like,
I'd be so scared.
because you know how the Matterhorn's like kind of half inside, half outside? I wonder
Yeah.
because she was struck by another car. So I wonder if she fell like over the edge and onto the track
Oh
below,
yeah.
or if she, because you can't really fall like out from behind. You'd have to fall out the
No, not
sides. So
really.
she would have had to fall out somewhere at the top and then fell and hit one of the tracks
And
below. But
then
I wonder if it was inside or if it was outside. Because if it was
yeah, I don't
outside, if you're
know.
a bystander
Hmm.
just looking at it going, oh, look at the people riding the Matterhorn, and then this lady falls out, you're like
Oh god.
scarred for life.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, terrifying.
Oh, Flash thinks so as well.
She's in the
I
other room.
know.
She's like in the other side of the house too. She's so loud.
So apparently, this is a different. This is SF Gate. So I don't know how true it is, but this mentions two deaths of on the Matterhorn, but they were 20 years apart.
Oh god, she's coming back.
She's coming to comment.
Just see her walking this way. Yeah.
um, it says, oh,
God. I just saw her like running towards me. Oh my
she has a lot to say
god.
about Disney deaths. Okay.
Yeah.
It says the first death occurred in May of 1964, 5 years after the Matterhorn opened.
My cat is so irritating. She's just staring at me
Says it was
now.
approaching midnight when 15-year-old Mark Maples of Long Beach got in line at the Matterhorn with two teenage classmates. Maples was savoring freedom. Murmur, blah, 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 blah. It says Maples sat in the middle seat and it was dark, so the other boys couldn't see what transpired. The bobsled was beginning its descent down the mountain when one boy told the press Maples bumped into him. There was no way to tell.
Ow!
She bothering you?
She just bit me. She just reached up here and bit me. What the heck? Oh my god. Continue,
It's
sorry.
okay. It
Our
says
guest is rude.
uh so his friend said I was looking up, heard a noise, looked down, recognized Mark's sweater as he was falling out the side.
Oh my
Um
god.
yeah, it says Disneyland officials speculated Maples unbuckled his seatbelt and stood up on the ride, apparently striking his head on the side of the concrete mountain and falling vertically about 1 foot, landing beside the track of the sled.
That's why you don't do that.
Ooh, it says Maples' father told the press the next day the ride operators didn't believe the boys when they said their companion had fallen out. It was not until two girls who were in the car behind them verified the story before the ride was shut down.
Oh my god. You just don't believe them? Like, their friends like, "My friend fell out." They're like, "We don't
Yeah.
believe him." Like, "What? You didn't see him
Eh,
get on and not come
yeah.
off?"
It did say when the paramedics arrived, Mark was unconscious and he was rushed to the hospital with severe head trauma and put on a ventilator. The teenager died 4 days later, having never regained consciousness.
Dang.
That's so crazy. And then the second accident is the one we talked about first of the 48-year-old named Dolly Regina Young. So that's crazy that
Dang.
the teenager died first, and I bet because he was a teenage
Mhm.
boy and they do stupid things that they were like, "Nah, it's fine." But then a 48-year-old lady does basically the same thing, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
gotta change the seatbelts." I'm trying to think because like they've changed the seatbelts and the seat style recently. Um, so I'm assuming it's probably another safety measure. Let me see if this says anything about how she died.
I'm surprised, like, people don't die on, like, Splash Mountain. I don't know if
Oh,
anybody ever has,
yeah.
because that one doesn't have seatbelts, like, you can just get up and, like, get out if
Yeah,
you want
you could
to.
literally yeet yourself out at any point.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know how people have, like, not died on that ride. I'm always scared that, like, I'm gonna fly out of that ride, even though I know I'm not.
Oh, okay. So apparently, for what did I say her name was? Dolly. It says
Mhm.
that I think this is another person's perspective. So somebody named Helen witnessed it, and she told the police she remembered seeing a female bouncing on her back on the tracks moments
Oh my
after
god.
presumably falling from her sled. For a moment, Helen said it looked like Young was trying to get up. 33 seconds after Young fell from her bobsled, the next ride vehicle came around the corner. So this must have been the family that was maybe in the same car or a car behind her. But that, so I don't know why people are trying to stand up on the Matterhorn.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah.
At that ride, like, I can barely sit down on that ride. I don't know how people are standing up.
It must be so scarring. So apparently there was a family from British Columbia in the car that like was coming
Oh my
after and they thought it was a
gosh.
prop, and then they realized that it wasn't a prop, it was an actual person, and they hit her,
Oh
and
my
that's what killed her.
god.
So she didn't die from the fall, she died from getting hit by the second bobsled.
Dang. I would if I was those people, I would also sue Disney
Yeah,
for, like, emotional damages, like, what? I spent I mean, it was a lot cheaper back in the
but
day, but, like, you still spend
still,
money to
yeah.
go there, and then you just, run somebody over in your bobsled, like, no, I would not you're gonna give me some compensation for that, please.
Yeah,
I know it
that's
wasn't, like like, but I don't know.
that's insane. But yeah, I remember hearing about that too. Like, cause the creepy things.
Mhm.
Once you hear one creepy thing, it seems they all come out of the woodwork. Um,
Yeah, mhm.
but like stuff, like I don't know, It's so weird. I also feel like there was a Disney. Like I always hear stuff about the back lot. I feel like there was a back
Mm,
lot.
I always see, like, the creepy, like, abandoned, like, a animatronics, those always
Oh
freak me
my
out.
gosh, yeah.
We already know that I have beef with, water animatronics, I have, like, beef with, but, like, abandoned animatronics, I also don't like, they're real creepy. Not I mean, I would rather be in a room full of abandoned, like, creepy animatronics than, like, in, like, the Jungle Cruise. Like, my biggest fear is falling into the water of the Jungle Cruise and being in the
with
water with those
the with the
animatronics. I would
hippos
literally
and
I
the
think I would die.
piranhas.
I would probably have a heart attack. I would die from a heart attack because, like, my body would just give up.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it's true, and I don't think it's a creepy pasta, but I think it's for Disney World that there's like it's like a city above a city kind of thing, where it's like they have this whole like underground network that their
Oh, I
employees
think
and
I've
stuff
heard
can walk
that.
around, but like I guess if you get injured, you basically get to like go down there and they take you to their emergency area or whatever.
Oh,
Um, but
fancy.
that sounds creepy.
I also know somebody died on the big boat. I don't know what it's called. You know which one I'm talking about?
And is
The one in Tom Sawyer's
Oh,
River?
yeah,
Like,
the
that big
riverboat?
boat, like, I think yeah, because I think something, like I think one of the, like, anchors or something snapped and, like, hit the guy in the head,
Oh.
Yeah, on, like, that big boat, like, I remember, like, hearing about it, and then my mom, like, made me ride that stupid boat, and I was, like,
You're
so
like, "I
scared.
hate this."
I don't know why my mom was, like, obsessed with all that shit in the like, that river. Like, that little
Yes.
river that Disney has, my mom loved all that stuff
She
in
always
there.
made us do the she always like, "We can do the canoes, or we
Yeah,
cannot."
my mom loved that. I don't know why. Nobody likes that. Do they even still have them?
Yes. I
I
look
don't
at
think
it.
so. They
Yes,
do?
because every time I look when we go, I look at it and I
People
think,
do it?
"Yes."
Why would
I
they do
don't know.
that?
Also, why is LA Times all of a sudden being annoying? They're like, "You can't read
You wanna
this."
pay for this?
Fine, I'll find somebody else. But I was looking up the
Hi, Flash. Flashy, it's my sweet kitten.
ooh, what is this? Oh, no, that's not funny. Never mind. Not that any of this is funny, but it's not creepy pasta entertainment, you know?
Yeah, it's not funny. It's not funny. Right, Flash? Ain't that right?
No words to say right now.
She's like, are you talking to me? My cat has one brain cell. Don't look at me.
You know, when I just googled Disneyland riverboat death, right? Apparently this is the one I said that was not funny because it involves a disabled person. Um, but it is your worst fear because she died in the water of the Jungle Cruise.
Oh, heck
So
no.
Casey would have also instantly died.
I
Um,
would have instantly died. My heart would have just given out. Something, or like one of the, like, those like ropes on the
mhm.
thing on the boat. I don't know. I'm not a boat person. Don't ask me questions about the anatomy of a boat
Okay,
because I
so
don't
this one
know.
says it was in 1999 on Christmas Eve.
Oh, heck
Yeah.
no.
So it says a deadly Christmas Eve accident at Disneyland happened because a park employee who lashed the tall ship Columbia to the dock didn't realize the vessel was moving too fast. So it says normal procedure when the ship is coming in too fast is to not secure the mooring line, um, overshoot the dock, and then reverse gently into its proper position. Um, the mooring line pulled taut, then ripped an 8-pound metal cleat out of the ship's bow. The rope shattered Carpenter's foot as it whipsawed around and then flung the cleat 15 feet into a crowd waiting to board the ship.
Oh my gosh. That is
So
terrifying.
it was a
Is it
crowd
still
member.
sweaty?
So the report said he died of a brain hemorrhage and skull fracture. The flying cleat
Holy.
struck him in the face and the neck, tearing away part of his jaw.
Oh my god, dude. Heck
Yeah, his
no.
wife, I guess, also got hit, but she survived. She had severe head injuries and partially paralyzed face.
Dang.
That's. Oh, do you have something to say, Flash?
Now she has something to say.
Yeah.
She's so annoying tonight. I don't know why. She's like extra annoying. She's like, yeah. Get out of
See,
here.
but this sounds so sus. This is from. Hold on. Kitsap Sun. I don't know where they're based. I don't know if they're any good, but yes, Flash, I know. I should get credible
My
sources.
god.
But it says that a police detective who responded.
Ow! Sorry, she just bit me again. My god.
Oh.
I'm not petting her anymore. She's irritating me.
It said that the police were told to wait in a conference room for a considerable time before being allowed to enter the park and examine the scene at the Frontierland dock. And then by the time they got there, the scene had been cleaned up by Disneyland personnel and the evidence had already been moved before the detective was permitted access. So,
Yeah, see,
yeah, no evidence was collected
that doesn't sound
because
right.
Disneyland had insisted on retaining it. And then the evidence, which
They're like, "We don't get any of
yeah, the
this."
evidence, including the thing that struck the person, was broken in two and was released 4 days later. 4 days. Disney, what are you
Dang.
doing?
Trying to cover up their mess.
Obviously.
I read a thing. I don't know if this is
Mhm.
true. I'm getting
That's
sidetracked
okay.
here.
This
This
whole
we've been talking
podcast,
for an
have
hour.
we really? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It didn't feel like an hour.
Um,
Anyways, derail.
okay, let me say this.
Mhm.
So I read this thing that cast members point with two fingers
Mhm.
because Walt Disney had like a cigarette in his hands
Oh.
and they photoshopped it out so he like is like pointing with two fingers because there's supposed to be like a cigarette in his hands, but they like photoshopped the cigarette out. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, if you work for
Tell
Disney
us.
and you listen to our podcast, tell us.
Also,
Tell us the
speaking
truth.
of Walt, did you remember that crazy story? And it floats around every once in a while of his like cryogenically frozen. At one point, it was just his head, and then it ended up being his whole
Oh
body. Is
yeah.
supposed to be underneath Disneyland.
Ew,
Yeah,
ew, I don't
and
like
I'm
that.
like, why? And then, especially when it was just his head, I was like, why? What is that
Ew.
gonna do for
Yeah, like what does
you?
that
You
do?
can't like
Like why do you want
extract the
that?
thoughts or anything out of his head. Now I want to Google Disneyland point with two fingers. Two. Why do Disneyland employees point with two fingers? It says in his later years, Walt Disney was a chain smoker who rarely visited Disneyland
Mm.
without a cigarette in his hand. Because he didn't want to put the cigarette down, the legend goes he would point out the landmarks with two fingers. By echoing his actions, today's cast members are following his lead.
Oh, so maybe that just because he had like the cigarette in his
Yeah,
hand
so he just
and like you
yeah,
need
you
two
just
fingers.
point. Um Also I feel like it's very much considered rude to point with just one finger just in general. And so that's why
Is that?
yeah,
I guess
it's
that makes
considered
sense.
rude because it's almost like you're telling him to like go over there kind of thing. I was told this as somebody
Mhm.
who works in a very customer based retail store. Um
Mhm.
that has a lot of people all the time. And so they're always like, just gesture with your hand or use two fingers or something that's not just one finger pointing. And I was just like, oh, okay. But so I wonder if that's also part of it too, is they were just like, oh, it's
Mm.
less rude
Maybe.
this way.
Yeah. But I think that was I mean, that was a pretty good episode, so I think that we could,
Yeah, we could wrap it up here.
wrap it up here.
Alrighty, so that is it for this creepy spooky season episode. As per usual, we derailed into all kinds of topics. But honestly, if you're listening to the podcast thus far, you should know that by now.
Yes. Make sure to do all the things that we want you to do.
Yeah, do all the do all the things. Follow us, subscribe, tell your animals. We do have our special guest star Flash every once in a while, so subscribe for her and for her very loud input from other rooms. Maybe she was in the
Yes,
back
I told
rooms.
her she needed to get a job.
This is
Yeah.
her job.
And she needed a job, so she,
This is it.
is
Yeah.
joining us. Yeah, this is her
Yeah,
job.
she's
So help her pay the
yeah.
bills, okay?
She's the star power of this podcast.
Yeah.
Um so don't forget to follow us here, follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We are also doing spooky season. Oh, there she is, the queen herself. Um we are also doing spooky season over on my YouTube channel. The by the time this goes up, yeah, it'll still just be we have one video. I played through Five Nights at Freddy's. As somebody who doesn't like
Yay.
horror, and is very bad at video games, I played through. Casey and Wyatt both joined me so that they could laugh at my screams of things that I knew were coming, and I screamed anyways.
It's still
And
spooky.
then tomorrow, the first hide and shriek episode will be going up. It might be a double downer because the first time we filmed Hide and Shriek, I wasn't able to actually play. I just got to sit and watch Casey go in and out of rooms. So you might get both. You might just get that first hilarious one. So go over there, subscribe to that, and we will see you guys in the next episode. So goodbye.
Goodbye.